Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we're going to have Soonhee Bailey, Clark County District Court Judge, Family Division Department I means igloo, iris, Italian. Ice cream.
All the above.
For yes. I. But before we get to our guests, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you to our sponsors. We have Semper Fi Heating and Cooling. If you need your system checked, get in touch with them. Their website is callsemperfi.com. Callsemperfi.com. We also have Henderson's Mayor, Michelle Romero. She's running for re-election. Her website is votemichelleromero.com. Votemichelleromero.com. Get in touch with her. Also, we have Cody K. Whipple. He is running for Congressional District 4. His website is codykforcongress.com. codykforcongress.com, and that's the number 4. Check out his platform. Also, don't forget to get your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. If you don't have an attorney and you can't afford one, jump on Amazon and grab this book. It is a self-help book, and it will help you navigate that system. It is $14.99. Also, we have a merch store. It's VIPImerch.com. VIPImerch.com. We have all kinds of fun stuff on there for you to check out. And don't forget to grab your tickets to our Valentine's Ball. It is February 7th of 2026. And we have early bird tickets on sale right now. And the links are on our Facebook pages. So jump on there and grab your tickets. For my rant, gosh, guys, I know that a bunch of you have seen this. Some teachers had said some very disturbing things after the Charlie Kirk assassination. And parents have been calling for them to be fired. However, CCSD seems to be riding on the fence and not taking a stand one way or the other. These teachers said things like, one teacher wrote he couldn't think of many people more deserving of a gunshot wound to the neck. That is absolutely horrific. Another teacher said he watched the video over and over and loved every fraction of a second of it. And it gets better with every watch. Absolutely vile and disgusting. Another teacher commented he was not celebrating Kirk's death, but won't feel sorry for the guy either. And another commented, you reap what you sow. So after all the backlash and the parents saying, they want them fired, the superintendent, Joan Ebert, acknowledged that this had caused substantial disruption. And these teachers are currently not assigned to classrooms. However, this morning, if you saw Power to Parent, their post, Aaron Phillips posted about the school board meeting that is going on tomorrow, and it is at 5 o'clock. So if you want to show up and voice your opinion at the school board meeting, the address is 2832 East Flamingo Road. It's tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Again, it's 2832 East Flamingo. Go down and tell them how you feel about that. And if you want to get in touch with Power to Parent, it's Power, the number 2, and Parent. It's a parent union, and Aaron Phillips is the president of that. And they have all the latest information about what's going on in the school district. So anyway, I think those teachers need to be let go and not be teaching our kids when they say such horrible things, such as that.
Well, that's a very powerful rant.
Is that awful,
yeah.
What they said?
Yes.
That's terrible. And CCSD is just taking them out of the classroom, but they've not been fired. So they're still there in some kind of capacity. I just don't think people like that need to be around.
Maybe we should
children.
go to a trustee meeting and voice our opinion.
Oh, we will. We'll be there.
Yeah, we haven't been to one yet. Together.
We'll get there. We will get there. Anyway, there we go.
Judge Bailey, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Could you give us a bio, please?
Oh, goodness.
Okay. By the way, do you like my tie?
I think that we are all very well coordinated today. So yes, and I'm so glad that you're wearing a very
like
nice
my suit?
I like your suit.
No hat?
No hat. It was almost like someone asked you to dress up today.
Almost like
Almost,
that.
right?
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like someone asked you to dress up today. You look very sharp.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very nice.
You look sharp too.
Thank you. I try.
And you wore our colors. We love it.
I like blue. I
Thank
love
you.
the color blue. It looks very sharp, and I love your outfit as well today.
Thank you.
So yes. You want my bio? Oh goodness. Just
At the age of 6.
at the age of 6.
Start at 2.
We can. Well, let's see. At kindergarten. I don't know what my finger painting grade was though. No, actually.
Wherever you're comfortable with
Okay.
starting.
Well, let's see. I graduated undergrad from University of Washington. I went to Seattle University School of Law.
Okay.
I was first barred in the state of Washington, and I became a district attorney in King County, which is the Seattle
Really?
area. Yeah.
Huh,
You didn't know I was a DA?
I didn't know
No,
that.
King County.
Kind of missed that one.
Yeah, so King County, and then I was also Pierce County as well.
Mhm.
Until my eldest daughter was born. And then I also was a pro tem judge up there.
Mhm.
And then after we moved down here in 2003, and I became a law clerk for the PD's office.
Mhm.
I was there for several years, and then I went to work for, it was called Rawlings Olson Cannon. We called it The Rock. It was also Olson Cannon, Gormley, DeRusso, and Gulo and Staberski. Long name. Civil practice, I did that for 8 years. While I was there, I was also the hearing master for the Taxi Cab Authority. And I also continued to pro tem judge in both City of Las Vegas Municipal Court as well as Justice Court. And then after I left there, I was the hearing master, actually not the hearing master, but I became the deputy labor commissioner.
Mhm.
And then I was the acting labor commissioner before I was hired as a hearing master in family court. Then I ran in 2020 and became the judge for Department I, where I've been since. So that's kind of a summary.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds like you destined to be a judge from a very, very young path in your career.
I kind of fell into judging. It was kind of interesting. I didn't know I was going to be a pro tem judge. One of the judges, actually, when I was home with my daughter, called and said, hey, would you come down and pro tem judge for me? And it never actually occurred to me that to ever be on the bench. And I thought, well, if you need some help, they swore me in real quick, and I started pro tem judging, and that's what I did for a while. I said, yeah, actually, this is really what I like to do.
So what personal experience got you there that drove you to want to become a judge?
Started out to be a lawyer first, because I'm kind of considering myself.
Well, why law?
I'm an accidental lawyer. So I never thought about the law. I'm a first generation college here, first generation born actually on my mom's side. And I originally was going to graduate and get my master's. I was going to get my master's like criminology kind of thing. And right before I was going to graduate from University of Washington, my parents got in a really bad car accident. And my mom broke almost every bone in her body. So yeah, so I wasn't going to go get my master's. I kind of dropped out of that, went home to take care of her. And then in the weekends, I worked in a hospital in respiratory therapy in the ER. And one weekend, this case came in. It was a 12-year-old boy who'd been shot in the head by his brother over a video game. And so I was a low man on the totem pole, and he needed to be airlifted out to Harborview, which is the trauma center. And so the parents were coming in to see the boy. They didn't realize that he was not going to make it. We kind of knew. And so they had wrapped his head up, and they said, you got to hold the towel on. And so, because I was a little man on the totem pole. So I had to hold the towel as the parents were coming in, and they were talking to him and saying, hey, everything's going to be okay. And, everything's going to be all right. And I sat there as they're doing this, and I was like, I can't do this. I need to do something else. And I knew I'd already lost my opportunity to go do the master's. So I thought, okay, what do I do? And one of somebody who was a family friend said, why don't you try for law school? And I was like, I have no idea what that means. And they said, we got to take this test. I said, all right. So on a whim, I took this test, the LSAT. And they said, okay, now you got to apply to law school. I said, all right, I'll apply for law school. So I applied for some law schools in the area. There's 3 in the Northwest. So I applied,
Right.
and I actually got in. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go because my mom hadn't started walking yet. She was still in a wheelchair and everything. 1 week before I was supposed to give my answer to actually start, my mom was able to walk a little bit. So I took the closest law school, which was Seattle U, which at that point was University of Puget Sound in Tacoma. So I said, all right, I can go up there. It's close. It's only an hour away from where my parents were. So I said, all right, I'm going to go. I don't know what this law school thing is, but I'll go. So I started going fish out of water. No idea what it was about. Didn't know anything about these outlines or anything like that. Went up there, and my first thought was, wow, I don't know what this trust fund thing is that all these people are talking about, but I'd sure like to get one. Found out requires having rich parents, which I didn't have, so I didn't get a trust fund. So every weekend, that first year I went home, worked in the hospital Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 10-hour shifts in order to afford that little $300 apartment, and took care of my mom on the weekends. And that was how I became a lawyer. So that was the start of how I became a lawyer. So I'm an accidental lawyer.
Very interesting.
Yes. And then the judge experience was, like I said, I was a criminal attorney. And then I started sitting on the bench, found out I really felt I had an aptitude to be able to work the calendars and help people. And so it just kind of grew from there. And then when I moved down here, started pro temping again, just started getting a little bit more knowledge on it. And then I started enjoying all the different areas of practice. I got to do civil, criminal, administrative law. And then kind of decided, once I got to be a hearing master, really started feeling like I could make a difference, especially with kids. And that's what really prompted me to apply and actually run again for judge, and especially with family court, where I felt like you can really make a difference with kids as opposed to trying to make a difference with the adults later on. So that's really what prompted me. So that was a long-winded answer for your question.
Thank you. Ms. Phillips?
Tell people what kind of cases you see the most. Are these CPS cases, divorce cases, everything in
I have
between?
this weird hybrid calendar.
Mm-hmm.
So I do dependency, which is the foster system. I also do delinquency, which is my autism and fetal alcohol syndrome drug exposed court, as well as the domestic cases that are linked to the dependency cases. So the domestic, and then also within the delinquency or the dependency, I could be seeing guardianship and adoption as well. So kind of I see every case except for adult guardianship.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
we're kind of the everything court.
So this is one thing I ask a lot of judges because it irritates me so bad when you've got parents, one parent or the other parent doesn't pay their child support, or they're not following orders, they're not doing what you tell them to do. And then the judge there's no penalty for it. They just get away with it for years and years and years. How do you run your court, and how do you run when you give an order to someone and you see they're not following up with it, they're not following it? What do you do?
Right. And every situation is different.
Mm-hmm.
And we are equally frustrated.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating because we have to follow such very specific rules for orders to show cause, which is basically what you're talking about. And we have to be so careful because if everything isn't done exactly right, then all is lost, because it gives rise to all kinds of different issues, different sanctions, both on us as well as the other parties. We have to be extra careful, and often it's not done properly. It's not brought in front of us properly, which is very frustrating for us as well, because a lot of people do represent themselves. If it's not done appropriately, then they're like, throw them in jail. Well, it wasn't brought in front of me properly. I can't just take someone and throw them in jail. As much as I'd love to, I can't. You have to follow the proper sanctions. I got to go progressive. I got to do things that are appropriate. If I don't do it right, if I don't do a proper purge clause, if I don't do things, that are just right, it's not going to do anyone any good. It's going to not withhold anything. Then I got to find the person. You've got to personally serve the person. I can't go out and find the person. Often they'll come in, I'll say, well, did you serve them? It's like, well, I don't know where they are. Well, I don't know where your ex-husband is either. They're not on my Christmas card list, I guarantee that. And so there's all these different frustrations. So everything has to be set up just right. It's very difficult. That's why the child support court's there. And child support's extremely efficient at their orders to show cause. They're very good at it, and they do hold people in contempt because they do have that ability a little bit better than us. But as far as the withholding the child, very, very difficult. And then we have to work with the right orders and everything else. And we do actually hold CLEs on that to try to make sure we do it correctly, that Metro is going to honor the orders and the pickup orders and everything else. So the answer is each situation's different. How do I do it?
Are you strict? Do you find them right away? How many people do you throw into jail?
It depends on the circumstances, and I'm just coming back into domestics, so I'm just starting to get back into the orders to show cause. I haven't had a whole lot lately. The whole key is, number one, You try to avoid it by trying to write really tight orders and trying to get compliance right away. That's your first thing. And you try to let them know you mean business. You try to start with the fines, and you try to start with your purge clauses. So far, I have not had to throw anyone in jail. We've had to threaten a few people with jail. But so far, we've been fortunate. But at this point, we explain everything, and then you write the purge clause. Then you also try to get them to bring the child to court, and then you go from there. But right now, with my current caseload, I haven't had any this cycle, and I've been out of it for a few cycles, so I'll say for a couple of years. But you just try to get everyone on board to let them know that they need to follow the orders. But each case is so different, I can't give you a good answer. But do we share your frustration? You have no idea when you see us coming off the bench. We're in the hallway, and we too are screaming, and we're yelling and beating our head up against the wall because we're so frustrated, because we feel like our hands are tied because someone didn't present something exactly right with us. And now we're like, we can't give legal advice. We wish you would go see an attorney. Would you please go to the 15-minute Ask a Lawyer program?
And most can't afford it.
We also try to send them to legal aid. We try to send them to the right places, and we understand that, but we can't do it for them, and we try to set it up the best we can. So we share with your frustration. Trust me, we're in the back hallway screaming too. But I just can't throw someone in jail as much as I would really like to. So we understand.
You were a deputy public defender, right?
Yes, I've been both.
Okay. What challenges did you face as a deputy public defender? And what experiences do you have as a deputy public defender that you could bring to the bench?
Well, first of all, patience. And I think a lot of it was recognizing, unfortunately, mental illness. Unfortunately, a lot of those that have mental illness, either diagnosed, undiagnosed, unmedicated, end up in the criminal justice system. They also end up in the family court. And so often it's knowing how to de-escalate, knowing when to...
How do you do that?
It depends. Sometimes talking, sometimes deciding today's not your day. Just today, you just got to come back on another day.
You tell them that? Come back another day?
Why? Because sometimes it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It isn't worth it. And so why would I continue to do this when I can just simply do this and say, hey, buddy, today's not the right day. Let's come back on a different day. And sometimes, or just simply say, hey, you know what? We're not dealing with this.
What is their response to you when you say that?
They'll look at me. And sometimes they'll say, no, I want it done now. Or sometimes they'll say, yeah, come back on a different day. Or if they're on Zoom, sometimes you got to say, look, we're just talking over each other. It's not working. Video, things get lost. We're getting lost in the translation. I don't know if it's our feed. I don't know what's going on. Everybody come down in person. Just get down here in person. We're going to try this again.
It's more effective in person than it is on Zoom, isn't it? As a judge, how do you feel?
It depends, because I sure love that mute button sometimes. So, it really depends. Because sometimes if you get two people who are really getting hostile to each other, it's nice to have that mute button saying, I will unmute you when it's your turn. And sometimes they forget you're there. And they will just start going at it right across the table. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, guys, if you really want to do this, you wouldn't have involved me.
So if they're doing that, imagine what they're doing behind closed doors.
Sometimes what I imagine is if this is their best behavior, once they step out, just imagine what they're like. And they have a complete inability to co-parent. So then, you got to figure out how to get them to co-parent. And then that's another issue. So then you got to figure out how to get them to co-parent. And then you got to use tools to get them to co-parent.
Like what kind of tools?
Often I find that if you put them on a parenting app, sometimes reading out loud some of their communications will do it, because there's nothing as effective as saying, hey, let's talk about some of your communications. And you start reading them out loud, and it's like, oh boy, I can't read that one. Beep, 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 MF.
Is this
beep,
Talking
beep,
Parent?
Beep, beep. Talking Parent, Our Family Wizard. You start reading them, it's like, and then one of the parents will be like, yeah. It's like, oh wait, I haven't gotten to your response. Okay, and you start going, and I'm just gonna, and you just go.
You're just acting like a parent on the bench then.
Well, no, I just tell them. I said, hey, you guys, you did this so the court can read it. So I got your stuff. Let me read it. Is this what you want me to do? And they'll look and they'll say, oh my gosh.
But do you feel that way, like you're a parent and you have to discipline these adult children with their children?
It's not disciplining. It's more of just simply saying, hey guys, I'm here to take their emotion out. And I'll tell them right off the bat, I may seem a little cold to you guys, but my job is to take out this emotion.
Right.
So now I got to look at this. And so this is what I'm going to do. But here, I'm reading your communications. Imagine how your kids feel. This is how you guys are talking to each other. So don't tell me that your kids don't hear this. And then sometimes that'll temper it for a little while, at least a little bit. They'll start kind of calming down because they're like, the judge is reading this. And it's embarrassing to have these read out loud in court. I mean, it is, if you think about it.
So
that'll
I want to close hearings all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I'm like, I'm reading it, and they don't care, and it'll calm them down for a while. And then they think about it and they're like, okay, so at least they'll tone down for a while. And that works. And then they'll think about how they're going to communicate for a while. And that really solves it. I mean, because if you think about if your stuff's going to be read out loud and that's how it sounds, you don't want to sound like that.
So how much percentage of litigants that come before you are pro se?
Well, I do the dependency. So most of the dependency is going to have attorneys unless they choose not to, or they've, fired their attorney. So let's see. And then the domestics, a lot of them are pro se or self-represented. So pretty much that docket. So it's about 25%.
And explain domestics.
Domestics would be child custody, divorce,
Visitation.
Yeah, the modifications. Relocation.
Distribution of property.
So far, not really a lot of that, but I've got some divorces.
But it's all tied up in the divorce.
It's all tied up. Divorce,
Properties
all
always,
that, in there.
Who
Things
gets the
like
bird
that.
and all that, yeah.
Things like that. Dogs, usually dogs.
Dogs.
And then, so those kind of things. No, I haven't had a bird. Lucky. Do you have a bird?
I have a parrot.
He does.
Oh, okay.
Humphrey.
My parrot was actually in my divorce.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother-in-law has had a bird.
Because those things are like 4,000 on up.
Right.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law had one, but Tazzy died. So
Tazzy.
yeah, Tazzy.
Rest in peace, Tazzy.
But Tazzy could. Yeah, but Tazzy could actually imitate the fire alarm.
Ooh, that's scary.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Humphrey's going to start doing that with your smoke alarms.
Yeah, that's a smoke alarm. The smoke alarm he would imitate at 2 a.m. So yeah, no, we had all those things that we would have. So I do that. So it's about 20%. And then I have my autism court, which also we just expanded out to fetal alcohol syndrome.
Oh, I didn't know about this autism. court. When did that?
Oh, I've had that since 2018. You sat through it.
I did. Oh.
Now I'm just insulted.
Tell people about that.
Yeah, okay. It's called Day Court. It's a detention alternative for autistic youth. And it's been in existence since 2018. And it's we do it through delinquency.
Okay.
And what we do is we have youth who come through the delinquency system who are suspected or on the autism spectrum. We try to divert them out of the criminal justice system by getting them appropriate services.
Oh.
And so we have, and in the last session, not this session, but a session ago, we just were passed into legislation where they recognize this as an official diversionary court. And we're the only one in the nation.
Okay.
And we graduated number 119 a couple weeks ago. And we have a recidivism rate of 11%.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Could you invite
That's
us to
really
the
good.
next one?
Well, yeah,
Is it open to the public?
of course. Yeah, it's just you can't do, you can't, because they're juveniles, you can't record their
No, yeah.
faces.
You
or
can't
their
record
parents.
in courtroom anyway, unless
Well,
you have the permission.
So you just can't show their faces or that. But yeah, we have them. And then we just expanded out this last session. We have what's called Neat Court. It's a neurodiversity, I've been in court all day, I apologize. A neurodiversity advocacy and treatment court. And so we have expanded out to fetal alcohol syndrome and substance exposed.
Okay.
And we recently got a grant. And
wow.
yes, and so we have that, but we don't just do.
You write your own grants, or you got your JA to do it, or your law?
We have someone in specialty court do that. So we had that. We're not that good, but I wish. But we actually have those.
How much is the grant, by the way?
We have $1 million a year for 2 years. So we got $2 million.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And so we actually are working on children in both delinquency and dependency. So we're trying to get those youth, because so many are coming in, and the problem is to get them diagnosed, it takes 4 people. They come through Ackerman Center, which you're aware of that. But Medicaid only covers, I think, about $800 of it. So Grant a Gift was giving the rest to cover their diagnosis, but they could only do 4 kids per month. Obviously, you know how many we have in our system that weren't getting diagnosed. So through our grant, we're able to now get 4 to 8 youth tested. And so now per month. And so we're now able to work with them. If we can find placement for them, we can now get them parent training. We can work on ABA services, which is also what's used for autism. We can also work on other things that aren't covered, where we're working on trying to get them other support through like Desert Regional Center. We can work on getting them IEPs if they don't have that coverage, and also try to get them the support to get them out of Child Haven or RTCs. Our goal is not RTCs, residential treatment centers or anything like that, and to provide that special support so we can just get them into a forever home, out of the criminal justice system, anything that we can. So that's what we're working on. We're the only court in the country that does that as well.
Wow.
So working on some positive changes.
That's really good. Why does it take so long to get through this court system? Parents are without their children for months and months, years, even when CPS has taken them away for whatever reason. Some people are falsely accused where they think it's shaken baby syndrome, but it's not. It's other kind of medical things. And it just seems like it takes forever and ever and ever to get through this family court system. How can that be sped up? How can that be bettered to where kids can be reunited with their parents quicker instead of all these hearings, status updates, evidentiary hearing, like all this stuff that takes forever?
Okay, so I'm assuming you're talking about dependency. As far as it goes, their adjudicatory trials are heard relatively quick, so they can get a trial relatively quick on the accusations. We do that within 30, 60 days of the petition being filed. So they can get a trial very quickly. I know that's by federal law and statute that we get those in. As far as their treatment plans and reunification, that depends on the parents. And so we do, by statute, we check on the parents every 6 months. And so every 6 months we're checking on the parents. Where are you? Because we want to reunify you. Where are you? Where are you going? Have you started your plan? What have you done?
What if they do their whole case plan and it's done, everything that they were asked, in the first couple of months, or, they get all their counseling and they're doing weekly counseling and all this stuff? It still takes forever and ever and ever.
I haven't had a case like that. I mean, if they've already got their case plan, they immediately come back on my calendar. We start talking about safety plans. We immediately start talking about reunification. If they already have, are they unhoused? Those kind of things that might delay it. But the second they're ready and they're working their case plan, they're back on my calendar. So they're really working as far as what I've seen, because that's the goal. Because we need these children to be out of wherever they are, and they deserve permanency. Now, if the parent at 1 year hasn't made any progress, that's a different story. Then we're going to look at what happens. But even at 1 year, if the parents are making any type of progress, they're still trying to reunify. But we're always asking the parent, why aren't you in drug treatment? Why can't, a lot of them we can't find. So I can tell you, I wish that were the case on more of my cases, because often I can't find them. I mean, there's nowhere to be found. We don't know where they are. They're nowhere to be found. They're gone. No one knows where their forwarding address is. So they're just missing.
Do you think it's disturbing that kids would be shoved around to 5 different placements within a 9-month period of time? Would that, if you saw that as a judge, would that disturb you?
We're always commenting about where are these children, where are they at, where have they been moved, why are they being moved?
So much, yeah.
And we're going to question that. At least we have caps, so every child has an attorney, so they're represented by statute.
Yeah, but what if those attorneys during the court hearing don't speak up, don't say anything, and they're just sitting there on Zoom?
I can't control that.
I know you can't control it, but you probably have seen that, where those attorneys will just sit silent and not say a word on behalf of the child.
That's not my
I've seen it many times.
Okay, that's not my CAP attorneys, because my CAP attorneys are there saying, hey, you can't transfer the school. They deserve to stay in the school of their original jurisdiction. They need to address this. This is what they want. This is where they want to be. They can't be moved without notifying me. I want to have a say. They're filing motions. So I guess I'm spoiled, but yeah, they always make sure to ask or they're on top of it. And if there is a movement, they want to know why. And I expect to know why.
So 5 is extremely excessive within
I don't know,
9.
because I don't know. Because if you're asking about something specific, I obviously can't comment. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying in general. I mean,
I don't know because I don't know what the reasons are that they're doing anything. It could be any numerous reasons of anything. So I don't know what the reason is they're giving. They should be giving reasons for things. So don't know. They could be going back and forth to RTCs. They could be going back. I don't know. They could be running away. They could be doing, I don't know. They could be going to detention. So that could be one of the placements. I have no idea what those fact circumstances are. So I couldn't comment about.
But you would question.
We question.
You would question it.
We question if a child moves once. Because when they come back in for their 6 months, they talk about all the different placements where the child has been.
Yeah.
So they talk about it every 6 months when we come in about where the child has been.
Why is it every 6 months? How come it isn't every 3 months or 2 months or
By
a shorter
By
period?
statute, it's 6
Oh,
months.
okay.
It's a
Okay.
6 months by statute.
Okay.
So we go in for a 6 month and a yearly. So you get the date of removal, then you got the 6 months in the 1 year. But they're also being seen, in between if they get put on calendar. So we have other reasons why they could be put on calendar. It could be something happened, any other reasons, and they'll put them on for that. But it's by statute minimum 6 month, 1 year. So we do see the children on that. And then if other things happen, I'll see them more often.
Judge Bailey, you've been a deputy public defender. You've been a deputy prosecutor. You've been a acting labor commissioner. You even co-authored the courtroom handbook on Nevada evidence.
It's going into its 20th edition.
Okay. 20th edition. So I'm thinking that with all those different positions that you're a part of, that you take the rule of evidence seriously. So do you accept hearsay evidence in your courtroom ever?
Okay. That is a must comply with all the rules. So hearsay, you already know, is a whole big section.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to follow all the rules of evidence. Now, obviously,
What is the rule of evidence?
well, we have a whole section. It's a whole book.
Sum it up if you're going to sum it up.
Well, the rules of evidence actually are a set of rules that are codified in the NRS that outline admissible evidence and the rules that would go through and define what would define admissible evidence and non-admissible evidence. And it goes through and kind of explains which ones. Now, being typical law, nothing is written exactly in black and white because there's always something in an exception.
You're
Hearsay,
talking about judicial discretion.
well, of course, there's judicial discretion. So, and it all depends on how it's interpreted and everything else. And then, of course, we have the informal trial rules that Judge Gordon would talk about
but when
as
you
well.
say how it's interpreted, does that mean a vague interpretation that case law says, or does that mean this is how you are interpreted as Judge Soonhee Bailey, based on your experience, your life experience, and your understanding of the law?
Well, case law would tell you how to interpret it.
Oh, so you follow the case law?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, to the best of my ability.
Do you name the case law that you're following, like Smith versus Johnson, USC 591, so they could go look it up, or do you just?
No, this is Judge Bailey's opinion.
Yeah.
This is her
Case law.
interpretation. Here we
I
go.
would love anyone who could quote all the different cases. There's too many. No, I think it's people will say relevance, hearsay, exception to hearsay, state of mind. They'll do all those. Now, of course, with the informal rules, that changes because, I'm sure you talked to Judge Gordon about the difference in those rules, and that kind of assists because you can't expect someone who is, self-represented, two self-represented. They're not going to be able to, if you try to follow the rules of evidence, you're just going to sit there like this the whole time and you'll get nothing in. And so, you got to know when that applies or when it doesn't. And there's different things. If they stipulate to the informal rules, then it's different. But normally we do the rules of evidence, and there's rules that dictate each and every one of the pieces of evidence that come in.
With that said, have you ever been overturned by either appellate court or the Supreme Court
On my rules of evidence?
on any of your cases?
Oh, well, everyone's had issues where they've been both affirmed and reversed. So,
What's your percentage,
oh, I don't know.
if you had to guess?
I don't know.
How many have been affirmed? Or sorry, how many have been reversed?
3?
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know percentages because I do the best I can.
That's since you've taken the bench as a pro tem hearing master or as a judge, as an elected judge. When did the
all of it.
So your
Since
whole
2014.
your whole career on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, but I just do my best I can. I try to apply the law and I try to rationalize, but I don't do it because I think I'm going to get reversed or not. I just do the
Right.
best I can with
Right.
the evidence I have.
If you do it based on the law, you won't get reversed.
No,
Yeah.
you apply the facts to
Right?
the law.
You wouldn't
Well,
have to think about it.
well, sometimes there's a change in the law in the middle, or sometimes, there's a difference of opinion on the interpretation of the law. But you do the best you can, and you outline it in your report or in your order, and you do the best you can. But it's I write my orders, I write my own orders, and I do the best I can as far as writing them out. And I try to always show my rationale on how I do it.
Isn't that frustrating though that one judge reads an order like everybody else is hearing the words, but one judge uses this discretion and another judge uses probably something completely opposite, but it's the same law. Isn't that frustrating that one looks at it this way and another one looks at it this way?
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't the law be followed as written, or should the law be open for interpretation while I'm on the bench?
But the law, that's the whole thing about the law.
Wouldn't that be legislated from the bench, though?
But the law is open to interpretation. So that's the way. Everyone thinks it's clear when you start out until you start applying the facts to it. Not every fact is the same.
Right.
And, when you start out with one set of facts, when you drafted the law, it sounded great. And then someone comes out with these other facts, like, where did that come from? Like, this doesn't fit anything that I have, and now I got to make it fit. And that's where you get everything looking different. And you don't want, everyone has a different family. So you don't want it to try to make it fit, and you want everyone, and you want the judge to be able to look at your circumstances. If I tried to apply your circumstances to her circumstances, you'd be really upset with me if I tried to make it fit, because you want me to treat you like you. And I think you'd be really upset.
So you custom make it.
But your facts are different. I'm going to write your facts pursuant to you.
Gotcha.
And what your trial evidence is. And that's exactly how your order is going to look. It's going to be the facts as your case came out.
Okay.
And that's exactly how it's going to look in your order.
Thank you for that.
Did you agree with the Supreme Court when they reversed a decision of yours, when they, spelled out what their rationale was? Did you agree, disagree, or how did
I'm never going to tell the Supreme Court that I disagree with them to their face. No, absolutely. I'm just going to say
you just on the show you will?
No. Everything is open to interpretation. We look at it and we say, oh, okay, and you apply it, and that's what you do. You look at it and say, okay, and that's how you go forward. And so it's a clarification. So I'm like, all right. And sometimes, like I said, things change in the middle, and then you're like, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to apply from now on.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to learn.
You never ever think that you know everything going in here. Yeah. You have to look at everything, and after every trial I've ever done, I always immediately go right back and look and see if there's any new cases. First thing you always do, because something could have popped up even in the last day. And then you apply it to your facts, and then make sure, because always worried something new came up. And I don't think you should automatically assume that something new didn't happen that could apply to your case. So I'm very paranoid that way. I'm always going to double check.
I heard something very disturbing from an attorney, and I want you to tell me if this is true or not. With, say you have parents, mom, dad, and mom is killed, so dad is the one that is getting custody of the kids. However, you have a grandparent that's fighting for custody of the kids, but this guy is the father, and let's say he's a felon. he has DUI, he's on drugs, tier 2 sex offender. This attorney told me that constitutionally, a judge may have to, because their parental rights are still intact, have to give custody of the kids to that father, even though he's a felon and not the grandparent. Is that really true, even though he's got maybe a felony record?
That sounds awfully specific. So I don't know in those particular facts, but there's grandparent rights, and then there's the custodial rights of the parents, and there's a case called Troxel about a parent's rights to raise their child. I can honestly say I don't know about those particular facts.
Even if a parent has a felony record, does that weigh into what a judge does as far as custody when you have maybe a grandparent or somebody that doesn't have a felony record? Does that weigh into your decision at all, or do you have to rule because that is the parent
We
of
have
the child?
NRS 125C0035, best interest of the child. And then of course there's grandparent rights, and they have their own factors of everything else. And so we have to look at that statute as well. But there's a lot of parents who are felons. Would that automatically say that they aren't fit, And then we got to look at, is there a dependency case open? Have we already removed the children? There's a bunch of factors in there. And then you would look at what type of felony. It depends, because I don't know what we're looking at. So the situation would be, don't know. It depends, and what are these grandparents? And is it an automatic? You'd have to see, you'd have to do the trial. And then is it grandparent visitation, or are they trying to get custody?
Yeah.
Two different statutes.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a bunch of different factors on there. Is it an automatic that the grandparents would automatically get there because someone's a felon? No, not automatic. Because just to flip it, and I'm not saying, but what happens if this was a former drug addict who is now, this was 20 years ago, and now they've gone through rehabilitation, they have a job, and they have a house, and they've been doing very well. Would that be something that should automatically exclude them because they're a prior felon? So those are things that, I can't say.
What if they were a current felon on the sex registry list?
Can't say, because that sounds more
Would
like an
you
open
award-
case.
No, would a judge award custody to somebody who's on the sex registry
Don't know.
list?
Don't know.
So that's not a black and white, hard, fast answer that you could say, no, I absolutely would never.
The law is not black and white, because you don't know the other factors, and you don't know what the grandparents are trying to do or like that. And like I said, I don't know. Hopefully that's not an open case, and these are just hypotheticals or whatever, because I can't answer anything that may be open. And does it, dad, again, is there a dependency case? Is there not? I would hope there's not a dependency case, because you wouldn't be asking me about anything that's open, or even closed. But no, it all depends. And I hate to get through that, but every answer that you'd ever give for hypo would be, it depends, because there's so many other factors that go into it. Because again, you'd imagine that CPS would get involved at some point if it needed to. So sorry, no good answer.
Judge Bailey, how do you balance the emotional and contested nature of family court? Example, custody, abuse, neglect, juvenile delinquency, while maintaining judicial impartiality?
You have to be really careful about the balance. They talk about secondary trauma, which we all carry, because it is very difficult to deal with these difficult decisions.
And what does that look like, secondary trauma? Could you describe it?
I think, no. It's different for everyone. Sometimes you're just, you leave court and you just can't think anymore. It's just been so physically exhausting. You just don't want to make any more decisions. I mean, like, I can't even make decisions about dinner when you get done. It's just heartbreaking. It's tough. There's times when you have to choose between two bad parents and there's no good option, or you have to choose between two really good parents and there's no good option. Or a parent's asking to take one kid out of state, and there's no good decision that can be made.
Isn't there a law on relocation? Has to be extensive medical or?
No, it's not,
monetary or family related.
or there's a bunch of other factors that we look at. You know, a lot of people get good job offers or things like that. There could be a lot of really good reasons, and then you're looking at it, but you've got really two great parents. What do you do? You know, and it's heartbreaking. We have to make the decision, you know, and someone's asking us to make this decision about a kid that we've never met. You know, we never met this child, you know, but the parents look great. Or on the other hand, we don't want to make a decision because we don't have a good choice
Do you do
either.
child
Interviews?
Interviews, yeah. I was going to say inventories.
Oh yeah.
Child inventory. What kind of kids you got?
Yeah. No, we do. We have someone who can do child interviews, and that actually helps us a lot on some cases because it's really helpful to know the little stuff. Who helps with the homework? Who gets you to the doctor's appointments? Who gets you to school on time? You know, it's the little stuff that tells us everything that will help us. And some of those decisions are easier. But you know, as far as a secondary trauma, you know, we rely on each other a lot just to there's no one else that kind of understands it except for some of your coworkers when you can see them because they're all busy as well. You rely just on your family to kind of understand and just kind of help you relax a little bit or find other things and hobbies when you have time for them. You know, haven't had that many time for hobbies lately. But you just try to figure out a way to, you know, just not try to carry it home. But there's times when you don't sleep. There's times when you know, you're worried about it. There's times when you go in and you just kind of feel heavy because you have to make a really bad decision. You know, it's just. So
what do you do to relax?
I bake. I stress bake. I love to bake. So I love to bake and do things like that, and then try to just do things, hang out with some of my friends, do some other things like that. Used to do Pilates, but that studio shut down, so I don't get to do that anymore.
Ms. Phillips?
I don't have any other
You don't have anything
questions.
else for Judge Bailey?
I don't think so.
I could go on with her for like hours.
We can exchange recipes next.
We can't go up.
I like to see
All
Steve
about
cook.
on family court.
I want to see Steve cook.
So you mentioned about stress, and you talked about baking. What else do you do besides baking?
I spend time with my family. You know, we like to do things with the kids and, you know, travel. If we ever get a break, we like to do that once in a while. Spend time with my family, really. I know.
You talk about your children or anything like that?
Oh. Well,
Do you use them as an example in certain cases?
Well, I think it's because of my children that I can do what I do, especially with the autism, because my oldest is on the spectrum. I think that gives me a little bit more perspective about the special needs. And I kind of have a soft spot for that, you know. And with my oldest, we were trying to do, we used to do 5Ks. We used to sign up for little 5Ks with her. But she does have seizures, and so she's been a little off balance lately.
Sorry.
Yeah, once she gets better balance again, we're going to try to go back to doing some 5Ks because she likes the medals. So
awesome.
yes, we find
Aw.
some things for her to do with the medals, and so that way she can kind of do the medals, and then we'll go with her on those so she can collect them. We don't run, heaven forbid, no, we don't run. We just walk them. We try not to be last.
Yeah,
that is our goal. So that's what we work on. So we're going to work our way up.
Well, Judge Bailey, our second guest is here, so we're going to kick you out. But
I will not.
But you are running for re-election, yes?
Yes, I am running for re-election.
And Mark is going to zoom in on you, and you can have the final word. But before you do that, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. Oh, I don't need a final word, really.
Oh, whatever you want to say, you know, look at my campaign.
Do you have a website?
I don't have anything
I'm running for re-election,
yet.
whatever you want to say. You're running for re-election, right?
I am.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I guess it's a retain. Okay, Mark. Okay, and so this is Soonhee Bailey. Thank you very much for having me on your show. Come January, I will be signing up to retain my spot in Department I in the Family Division. So remember me next November. Thank you very much.
Well, Judge Bailey, thank you so much for coming on the program. Ms. Phillips, thank you as well. Folks, that's Soonhee Bailey. She is the Clark County District Court Judge for Department I in the Family Court. We hope that this program has been informative and educated to you. So when you do go to the voting booth, you have an educated decision instead of Mickey Mouse, build a house. We don't want to vote like that. So be educated on the candidates running for retention and running as a challenger. Thank you so much. We have one more show. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips for Veterans in Politics. Until next time.